And we are on round 6 here in Jerusalem, round 6 Gideon Jaffet Cup 2018. First game we will be looking at is Nepomniachtchi versus Muzachuk. To remind you, Nepomniachtchi is in the lead with 3.5 out of 5. Muzachuk is 2.5 out of 5. First game of today they drew between each other, and Muzachuk with white had an advantage, but it ended in a draw. And now Nepomniachtchi plays some rather rare line in Antislav. It has been employed by several strong players, Karyakin, Dubov and so on. But Muzachuk also makes her moves pretty quickly, so she was sort of anticipating it. And it would be very interesting battle, I'm sure, because the main plan in this position for white is to play g2 to g4, you see, to move it. And then, at some point, it will get very, very sharp. And I believe that's gonna be very, very interesting game if Anna is really, because playing black with Nepomniachtchi is never easy. And so far she has been doing fantastically with 5 draws against all the top players. And let's see if she can continue series. And on other top board we have Peter Svidar trying to take his second position again. He plays against Boris Gelfand, and there is an opening duel here developing because Boris Gelfand once again plays his pet line with knight c6, g6, and this line is quite known and it is considered rather harmless. But let's see what Svidar has prepared. He surely must have prepared something. d5, e5 is expected now, e5, knight d4, and then maybe knight d2 or bishop s3 or bishop takes c6. Many moves here. Objectively, white has no advantage in this line, but probably Svidar has prepared some idea. As you know, many times for rapid game you prepare some idea which objectively doesn't bring you an advantage, or maybe you even end up being worse if the opponent reacts properly. But with just 15 minutes or 25 minutes for the whole game, usually it would be a problem for your opponent to find the way, if it is the only way and if it is rather complex. So I believe Svidar did have some preparation here, and we shall see what he'll be doing after knight e4. Meanwhile, Nepomniachtchi Muzachuk developed precisely in accordance to our forecast. Let's see again. So g4, yeah, very direct play by white, and Nepomniachtchi himself already tried it probably against Anand. Rook g1, g4, bishop from b2 trying to press to g7, so g5 at some moment, then long castle and so on. It is very, very ambitious setup, and of course it's not easy to meet it, but judging from the clocks, Muzachuk must have prepared the way to play here. And we shall see what shall happen next. Meanwhile, on the Ivanchuk-Meyer game, there is no new moves. There's old theory, and Ivanchuk, who has a poor tournament so far, will have a chance to improve his tournament situation if he wins this game with white. But not something dramatic there. Just very theoretical position of Queen's Gambit so far. Once again, it's round 6. 5 rounds are behind us. Nepomniachtchi on 3.5, Svidar on 3, Gelfand on 3, and Svidar and Muzachuk on 2.5. This is a leading group. Queen e7, g5. We are once again with Nepomniachtchi. Muzachuk, g5 has been played, and knight e8, h4. It is all more or less known. I mean, very logical play by both. White tries just to build up some grip on the king's side, using the fact that his rook is on g1, so h5, h6 or g6. But as far as I can tell, if Anna plays so quickly, she must be ready to meet it, because otherwise she would have spent much more time here, as her position is looking dangerous. But I know that computers usually evaluate these positions quite favorably for black. It plays something like even f5 at some moment, and it's not something very dangerous. But once again, I mean, the position might be not very dangerous, but it's not easy to play with. Anyways, we don't get moves from Ivan Chukmayer so far, probably some technical relay problem, and Swidler Gelfand proceeded with d takes c5, bishop g4. It's a pawn sacrifice of bishop c5. He could have taken on c5 but played proactive move bishop g4, trying to attack immediately in the center. Not sure if it was all preparation or he just improvises, but the move looks quite logical. He does not want to take on f3. He rather wants to take on e5 because bishop f3 gf might favor white in some lines. But just taking on e5 using the fact that there is a pin. Let's see what's going on. And Nepomniachtchi Muzyczuk, they continue to play very quickly, and that must mean something actually. And let's switch to this game and see what's going on. So rook c8, h5. Now it's time for Muzyczuk to get some active moves in, and play c5 maybe to try to break through. Otherwise she's getting under attack after g6. So she must act without further delay. Let's see what is she prepared to do. If she doesn't play c5 or she doesn't play b5 or something, white would simply crush in by playing g6 or h6. Probably g6 is his idea. Let's wait and see what would be her move. We don't have to wait for a long time because well, they're playing with 15 plus 10 time control, so no lot of time for calculations. It's mostly intuitive play, and let's see if Muzyczuk will be up to this level to handle Nepomniachtchi, who is one of the best world specialists in rapid play and blades. So let Gelfand Swidler also slow down a bit. So probably they both just left their libraries, so the preparation is over, and then we see what's going on. So Nepomniachtchi Muzyczuk and Swidler Gelfand are two critical games now, also for outcome of the tournament. The event is really strong, surely supported by numerous Jerusalem chess players. So what are your impressions from the tournament? Do you follow the main tournament, or you just don't have time and you're visiting as a parent?
I visit, first of all, I visited as a parent. My child is playing here as amateur. It's the first time in his life, and of course it's a very special feeling, especially for me to see my son and, for example, Boris Gelfand sitting and playing in the same room.
As a part of the same festival, right?
Festival,
yeah, I think that's what's most important about these events, that you really have this atmosphere when the great players and just children and the veterans playing all together. I think it's
wonderful. It's the same room that there's young children playing chess together with so big players. One of the probably best players of the world now here, and of course for me to see that it's exactly here in Jerusalem in the Mount of Scopus, it's very
symbolical,
famous, symbolical place. For me personally, I was for many years the lecturer in the university in Mount of Scopus, as a kind of
so
the return into my academic home.
Special feelings. Tell us, do you know any other strong player in Israeli politics?
Of course. First of all, one of the former Israeli politics, Natan Sharansky.
Yes.
He is much more stronger player than me. Now he finished his career. He's finishing his career as the head of the Jewish agency. Before it, he was a minister. By the way, in the past, including the Minister of Jerusalem.
He also was. So
it's kind of the tradition. The Minister of Jerusalem should be a chess player in Israel. And but there are some members of Knesset that they are playing chess, but I prefer probably in future to see more.
Yes, we actually sort of thought about it because you know, chess was largely considered a Jewish game for many years, and many world champions has Jewish roots and so on. But for recent years, you know, it's something. The trend has been, let's say, it was a certain downtrend, and we have less Jewish players and Israeli players as well. After Boris Gelfand's success in 2012, it was a bit.
There are some young players in Israel that succeeded in the championship of Europe. And,
that's true, but we need to
You will
inhale
see.
new
You will
blood.
see.
Yeah.
You will see.
Yeah.
You will see.
So it is really important to see you here. We are really appreciate your interest in chess, and it's nice to see your kid playing in such a tournament.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for visiting. It was a great pleasure. And it's not every day that you have a minister in the government, and
Okay, I'm a parent.
and here as a modest parent, but who just likes chess and is in fact an avid chess player. Thanks, Dave,
Thank you.
and all the best.
Thank you.
And we resume our coverage, whereas we have 2 games in the running. Meanwhile, Ivanchuk and Mayer drew their game, and we have only 2 games, but these are 2 games of the leaders. Jan Nepomniachtchi is attacking fiercely against Anna Muzychuk. She has been doing good enough till the last couple of moves, because she moves this knight to d6, and it allowed white to attack the g7 square. It's not exactly clear how she's gonna protect now, because knight takes d5 is a threat, but also if you play just knight to f5, just maybe something simple like h takes g7 would ruin your pawn structure. It would not be so nice. But probably that's the way to play for Anna, because otherwise knight takes d5 threat with queen g7 mate is too strong a threat to face. So maybe she has to play knight e5, but she keeps on taking her time. I'm not sure what are the options. I mean, maybe to go knight e8, but that would be too passive. And otherwise, knight takes d5 is just too strong threat to resist. I mean, g7 is just mate. She cannot play g6. Let's say g6, knight d5, ed, queen g7 just would be a very simple line, and mate comes to. So meanwhile, let's see what's going on in Svidler Gerfand. Very important game for a tournament standing as well. So Svidler, we can also invite some special guests to our studio. George Meyer, who just finished his mini match versus Vasily Ivanchuk, and Georg, congratulations with today's win in the mini match. So
thank you. I think it's one of these occasions where both players work together to the same goal.
why so?
Because I mean, the first game was no game.
And the second game
was
no game for you.
The issue is that, of course, I understand I'm better in the end,
yes,
but I was down to 3 minutes to
right.
15.
That's a good point we will discuss. We see now your position on the main screen. So that's a position which I would expect Black to play in any circumstances if he has more than half a minute or something like that, because you seem to have a risk-free position and so on.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that I have 3 minutes and soon I will have 30 seconds, and then I will play this whole game with the 30 seconds, and I just was not in the mood for that.
Right.
I mean,
no, because I think your advantage is rather significant. You go knight a4 next move, and
I thought then take on c8 and knight c6, and I mean it's concrete. Either
maybe
I'm already much better, or it's just holding.
Knight a4, maybe knight d3 is also an option,
Yeah,
but knight
also
a4
take and knight c6.
maybe, but or you can also try to improve without immediate jumping, right? Like g6, trying to play e5 next move or something like that.
Yeah, but I don't
You
think
thought it's not
the
enough.
position is that horrible. He was knight c1. I mean, he has some defensive resources.
Right, and the first game Vasil just blundered everything basically.
Yeah, and I think that up to the moment where he played bishop a5, I actually yeah, when immediately knight a5.
Or knight g5 and e6, and well, looks very bad for Anna. Let's see if she manages to survive it. If Jan wins it, he will be on +3 with just 4 rounds to go, and that would mean a sole lead and maybe a lead with a point gap. Yeah, he played knight h5 indeed. Let's see if Anna saw something special here or she missed this move. d4. d4 seems like an only chance, otherwise it's just knight g5 and f7 and it's over.
Yeah.
d4 is the only resource. Now if you take on d4, I take twice and play bishop f3, and maybe I'm not doing bad. Not that bad at least.
Such positions, it's hard to say because they can always be so lost that even a hint of counterplay is not enough.
Yes, that's true. But maybe it's not not just over yet, because your king on e1. So if I manage to sacrifice an exchange in some circumstances which would not be too bad for me, let's say you go knight e5, queen c7, and if you go f7 check, probably I take it, and then I might be doing well, reasonable. Yeah? I mean, I have some compensation.
I think Jan is not the one to ever give up the initiative just for an
Right,
exchange.
right. So let us see what Anna comes with, and before we proceed to that, we can switch and see game Svidler-Gelfand, which is also developing in a fascinating manner. Svidler has sacrificed a pawn, and Gelfand seemingly has just a clear pawn up, but it's not exactly clear pawn up, because now I'll be tripling over the e file, and it would be a certain compensation. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the fact that you have bishop f8 is for black very good news.
Yeah, so you
to improve the position after that.
you know, white cannot play for improval, but
That's
maybe
what I mean. Like,
black pieces
has a
has.
free hand.
But how do you develop as black? I mean, I played
Rook
g4.
c6.
Yes, and then maybe I just roll. Okay, he played e6, g4, still h4.
Oh, I guess rook c6.
Yeah, but it's
c8.
difficult to make a progress, maybe, no?
Yeah, I'm
You try to attack me here.
somehow practically speaking, I don't know if e6 was that good, because then you're tied down to defend this pawn.
What happened? Oh, sorry, we jumped here. Yeah. H4 he played. Also quite natural choice. And well, let's see what's going on.
For example, I believe that Karpov would not have played e6.
You played bishop f8, you think?
Yeah.
Actually, Karpov did play e6 in a very similar position against myself. e6, king f7, rook e8, when I expected him to castle, but it was long ago, 1996. And he equalized easily. And then he traded these bishops, bishop f7 to d6. But it looks like Gelfand is in a control, and for him it's also very good chance to fight for first place, because if he wins he will be on +2, and only Nepomniachtchi can be higher. And let's see what's going on with Muzicek Nepomniachtchi. So she did play d4 and knight d4. Knight d4 he took. For some reason we don't see it this time. Knight takes d4. Knight takes h6. Yes.
Actually, very interesting.
Yeah, the computer
White-
evaluation we see here, and it's confusing.
Yeah, white's coordination is gone because the knights are not going to the squares.
Yeah, because you know he made the move knight d4, which you advised upon. I told you knight e5. So it was knight went to h5, f4, rook c5, and well, maybe this black is better. Maybe the computers are right, because now you will lose this pawn. I'll take on f6, and well, you are sort of getting mated as white suddenly. Wow, what a turn! What a turnout in this game. I mean, it looked so dangerous for black that suddenly it's white who might be in trouble, and if Muzicek wins, she will be on +1, catching up with Nepomniachtchi. That would be some news. Rook c5. So what to do? Yeah, he has no move except for
Maybe rook g5, but it's already bailing out.
rook g5. It's sort of very dangerous for him. Yeah, there is a pawn. Yeah, that's what I can maybe, because you cannot take on c5, you know, I can make any move. I can play king h8, for example. I don't want to go to h8 maybe. But
Yeah, king h8, there could be some knight e6.
yeah. Maybe rook g5 is a good practical choice. Maybe it's a good practical choice. Anyways, we are approaching the end of the round, 3 minutes each in Svidler-Gelfand. And in Nepomniachtchi Muzicek, I'm not sure if the times are accurate, because it shows 20 seconds for Nepomniachtchi and 6:20 for Muzicek. But is it really how the things are? Because if it is, so then
Hard to imagine.
yeah, usually you don't see Jan having like so 20 seconds. Well, but who knows? So she played knight f5. That's what happened. Indeed, rook g5, knight f5, and now what? It is either, well, he has to take and play king f2 or something like that. It looks very bad for white, I have to say suddenly. Because I can play rook c8, rook c2. a lot of threats. And if Anna wins it, she will be on +1. Actually, she had a huge advantage in game 1, but she did not play it ambitiously enough, and it was drawn. So knight takes f5, and what does she take with? I would take ef to preserve more pieces to not to allow you to castle. Yes, ef has been played. And then what do you place white? King f2? Any other smart move? You don't want to go knight g3 because h6.
Yeah.
King f2 would be nice regrouping, but what do you do after queen d5? Because f7 doesn't work exactly. Queen, king f2, fought bravely and on a very high level, but this is sort of position which would be difficult to play for black. Still, rook b2 here. Jan has to come up with something, f5 check probably, or d3 to start with. d3, rook b3, and knight something.
95.
Knight e5.
Eventually the pawns will move.
No, I mean, it depends if I manage to get this b4 pawn quickly. Because if I do, then your pawns, I can sacrifice a bishop and maybe hold. King d4. It goes king d4. That's a sort of awkward move to make. What happens if I just take? What was it?
That's a very good question.
I mean, why? King c3, I can play a5. Or rook a4. Rook a4 she played, d4. I would consider a5 maybe a bit cleaner, but she probably doesn't have time to reflect on that. d4 and b5 maybe to create. If she had the pawn on a5 and now b5, rook b3 would be a very strong threat. Like here, to play a5, and after d4, b5, intending to play rook b3 check. Now a4 was a bit because d4, bishop e2 she goes. She wants to take away this knight. He will not allow it to happen, I guess. Maybe b5 check or d3, or d5 check first and then jumps to f6.
Actually, very hard to say what the evaluation is in this position. Very double-edged. Maybe black is even better.
Objectively, black cannot be worse, but the question is whether it is simple enough to play. If 5 takes, rook a3 check, for example, king d2, rook a2 check, king e3, and a4.
Yeah.
Something like that. I would bet on a draw here. What do you say?
That's probably the favorite. Yeah.
We see Boris Gelfand, who will join us later on, only in a studio in a hotel. We will record the interview in an hour. In about an hour we will record it. Maybe 40 minutes, yes. And George, please stay with us. It's really thrilling hanging to comment. And d5 check has been played. So she has to be extremely careful here. King d6, knight f7, king d7, knight e5, king d6. No, king d7. He'll play e5. I think she sort of misplayed it with king to d6. She had to go to e7, maybe, no? Not to allow.
Sure
not to allow d6.
Yeah.
What about d6? Oh, e5, d6 immediately.
Yeah, and then king e6.
Rook
You want rook d5.
Rook e5, I mean. That's my whole idea. King e6, rook e5 check, and you cannot. Oh,
Yeah,
you can
rook
take
a3, rook d3.
rook c4, rook d4 as well.
Ah, yes.
So you can play. Let's see if maybe he blundered it, but maybe he still can play rook to d5. King d7. She went. Okay, maybe she didn't miss it, but she knew that rook d5, rook e5 now. And rook e7 is a threat, or is it? I mean, is it such a massive threat? It is a massive threat, actually. What to do?
I would play bishop g4.
Bishop
The only way
g4.
to control d7.
Yes, but it's already very, very unpleasant. That would happen. Rook e7, king c6. Now knight e5 doesn't work. King takes d6, and your rook is hanging.
Yes, so rook
So-
c7 and
or
then knight
e5.
e5. Ah, but e4
Then
is
I
hanging.
take. Can I take? I can take on e4.
Yes.
Very thrilling endgame. Once again, this game will determine the leader after today's round. If it is a draw, Nepomniachtchi will join Boris Gelfand with 406. If he wins, he will be a sole leader. If Muzychuk wins, Gelfand will be a sole leader. E5.
Well, the idea is simple, e6, d7.
Yes, maybe rook f4 or something. Rook e4, rook c4 check, king b2, king d5. King d5 is a powerful move. Now d7 would be met by taking, and it's probably a draw. Look, very resourceful played by Anna. King goes to e6 and then rook f4, and I get this pawn and it would be a draw. And if you don't play this, d7 would you play? Knight d8, it's too slow. I can play rook e4 simply. I think d7 and the draw is the most likely to happen.
Yes.
d7, yeah. Well, then it would be a very. I think draw is the most fair outcome in this game. I think both of them are.
I never know what is a fair outcome in a game of chess. Usually everyone gets their chance, and the question is who uses it.
Exactly what we predicted. That's the position. Now, question whether Nepomniachtchi will try to squeeze rook and knight against rook. It's not even clear how he gets exactly, but maybe he will get this rook and knight against rook. Not sure how he gets it. So he cannot take on a5.
The knight barely gets out.
Yeah, and if knight h7, I just play king g6 and rook f5. We'll trade everything. Yes, draw. Well played. Well played. 6 draw for Muzychuk. It's actually an achievement. I mean, if you say somebody that makes just 6 draws in a row, it really sounds like an achievement. But don't forget, she drew twice with Swidler, twice with Ivanchuk, and today twice with Nepomniachtchi, and that's quite something. Day 2 is over. Jan Nepomniachtchi and Boris Gelfand share the lead with 4 points out of 6, and I think Anna Muzychuk is in clear third with 3 out of 6. Thank you for being with us. This has been round 6 and day 2 in Jerusalem. Thanks to Georg for joining us, and see you tomorrow.